Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
And we have a quorum. Thank you all. I admit, just a little nervous there for a minute or two. So this is the Village of Saxtons River, the August meeting, and I am calling the meeting to order as the chairman. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, is there any public comment this evening?
For future reference, it's chairperson.
Oh, sorry. I actually like chair, but
There you go.
you know, habit, it's very hard. No public comment? Okay, moving on. Rob, you're on. The Monet sensor purchase consideration.
Yeah, I don't think this is a purchase, or is it just a lease like we basically haven't been doing? It's been a ongoing, the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Town, a little background, I guess, for everybody that doesn't know anything about it.
Yes,
There's
please.
sensors that were put in at the plant in different facilities throughout the state through the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns. And we had the opportunity to do it at Saxtons River. I believe our water plant took advantage of it as well. So they're monitoring vibration. There's 2 vibration sensors. There's one water sensor. It's like a hockey puck that sits on the floor. So if there's a water leak, it will actually send out a signal, and it sends out a text message, sends out an email. There's a temperature sensor for the main office room, where the lab, where all the blowers are, but that's never going to get below a certain temperature anyways, because the motors, the blowers are always on. One or the other one's always on. So we did a whole year's worth of, I guess, free trial of how the system worked. I think some of it's okay. We got a lot of hits on the fine screen, which is this screen that automatically comes on when the water is either a certain height as it's coming into the plant, and it takes out the 1/4 inch or bigger stuff. So that one would send out signals from time to time. That was probably our most active one. And I don't know if it was just because of potentially what came in the water, whether it was a stone or a toy or whatever, and it would send a vibrational signal out that it was a high vibrational. Nothing detrimental to the equipment. I mean, it just vibrated more than usual, and get a text message, or I would get a text message on my phone, or I could also get an email at the plant. But now the year is up, and they want to know if we want to move forward with it. And I guess it's a private thing at this point. I don't know if somebody got the material emailed to them or mailed to them. I know that was going to go out, or it's coming out from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. But I mean, I think maybe that out of all of it, the one thing that might be worth it is the water sensor. But other than that, I don't see any of the other ones being helpful or useful to us that we saw. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
do we know what the cost is?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think it was going to be like $35. I don't know if that was a month or a year for monitoring. So I don't know, but that would be in the paperwork. That's either nobody has that paperwork, I'm assuming. So they must be sending it.
I can look. It doesn't ring a bell, but you know, a lot of things come through. Let me just take a quick look. You think it came directly from the League of Cities and Towns?
I believe it would have been forwarded to the board.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing, of course, League of Cities and Towns emails us things all the time, but I'm not
Yeah,
seeing
no, right.
anything like that. Carl, have you been on top of the SaxRivGov account? I
Um,
wonder if it's in there.
I was in there on Friday. I did not notice anything, but if it didn't look like it had to do with the meeting agendas or minutes, I wouldn't have opened it.
Okay,
So, and the other thing, it may not have been, it may not have come yet.
okay.
So it's something that may be coming. And I know it's coming up on its year trial. It's coming
Yeah.
to an end. So
Are you doing
Um,
this for the Bellows Falls wastewater treatment plant?
no, just the water plant was doing it.
Oh, the
There
water
was-
plant, you said
yeah,
that.
they only did a certain few around the state as a trial.
Mhm.
It's just new technology. So we were asked if we wanted to do it, and I said, sure, let's try it.
Comments from board members?
Well, even if it's $35 a month, that doesn't seem to be a lot of money.
It's cheap.
Would it be worth it? Would it be worth $400 a year to you if that was a monthly rate?
Small insurance if some big rock does get through into that thing. And
I mean, like I said, until we get the paperwork, like I said, he said that, I don't know if it was month or year. I mean, if it's even better if it's a year, but
Yeah.
I can't believe that it would be.
Yeah. Did we have
That-
this in place when we had the July floods? Was that 2 years
No.
ago?
No,
No, okay.
no, it's only been a year. And that would have been, in a different location. So it this is all inside the buildings. So nothing would have, that vault is separately outside.
Yeah, I'm just remembering that there were issues inside the
No,
plant.
well, it was inside a separate vault, or separate holding a tank or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it, but that
Okay.
was outside the building.
Yeah. All right, should we bring it up again in September?
Yeah, and like I said, maybe I'll see if I can't contact them to get some more information.
Okay. All right, that'd be good. Any other comments before we move on from this matter?
if water alarm is what's really important to you, I can get you a really good deal on a nice water alarm system.
Yeah. Why, you got one?
Yeah. We replaced ours at work.
Oh.
We've got the old one. It's got all the cables and sensors and auto dialer and
This is just a puck, and it's all, it's actually what it is. It's a hockey puck that they hollowed out. And the sensor just sits there and it connects through the internet.
is it wired to anything or is it wireless?
Nope, just wireless, just sits on the floor. Yeah, so, and I know the water departments, I think they've had it, and they've had where it was one of the pumps or whatever had leaked, drips water, and it had got onto that sensor because the sensor wasn't up high enough off the ground, and they were getting calls for flooding. So it does work. But,
Mhm.
Ours just happens to be next to our well system.
Ours, you never know when you're going in if it's a few drips from something that was leaking or if it's going to be 3 inches of water.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least you're notified that there's a moisture problem. Moisture's there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, it seems like a good precaution to me. I've been in similar situations where below grade, and you really wanted to know if that was starting to fill up with water, and it was relatively cheap to install one, so we did. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out in the emails that I received from League of Cities and Towns, and Rob, if you hear anything else. Was it Wade Mashur who was the point person on this? Wonder if
Initially
there's any-
it was a different guy.
Okay,
But he's now left, so I don't know if
okay,
Wade was kind of he had taken over. Jim Carrion kind of had started it and then showed Wade. But Jim has now moved on, so it may be Wade, but I know I talked to the new guy that handles Bellows Falls and Rockingham. as well too about it. So,
Okay.
like I said, I'll try to find out some more information about it.
Okay. I'm going to take a beat here. Rick McEachern, you missed public comment, and I want to make sure if you came on to make a particular comment that we haven't ignored you.
Hey everyone. No, I just moved to town, so I was just joining.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Watch your step. You'll be a trustee in no time.
We're casting the.
That's right. We like that kind of curiosity. Okay.
We do.
Item number 4, speeding in the village, mobile radar signs. So this is follow-up. I asked Scott Pickup whether we were in line for the mobile radar sign, and he said he thought it was a great idea to put it on Pleasant Valley Road, but under the circumstances, he recommended waiting until after the milling, which I think has been done, and the paving. So we're looking probably at end of August or September, depending on what the weather is and when that stuff gets done. Are you okay with that, Ellen? I know you brought
absolutely.
the original request. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about Westminster Street out here? We had, was kind of one of the initial prompts for this. We had talked about and had started fundraising to buy our own for out here. And I thought that they were going to put them in more places than Pleasant Valley Road.
Yeah, well, the most recent discussion at the last meeting focused on the Pleasant Valley Road, although we began with considering speeding at other places in the village. So I just followed up on that one. Back when we originally collected the money, talked about fundraising for a mobile radar unit, I think there was one check received for $50, and when there was no further action, that check was returned. So that's where we are.
Right. Well, we stopped. We put all that, our own kind of fundraising and neighborhood fundraising, on hold when the town assured us they were going to buy these mobile ones and they'd be placed out here. So it's a little disappointing to hear that that's not on the list.
I didn't ask about a list. I just asked about Pleasant Valley. So I'm hearing I should ask Scott if we can also be on the list for one on Westminster Street.
Yes, please.
Okay. Ellen, we'll look for you when you come back.
But I had also had 2 people in the village who had approached me this summer. That's why I had asked to have speeding in the village on the list, because I had 2 people, even with the ones, there's been a lot of, I had 2 people approach me about speeding on Main Street, and traffic really flying up and down through there. So.
Huh. Any particular time of the day? Oh, I see. We've got questions. I'm sorry. Let's have the follow-up from, I think I saw Sarah first and then Carl. Sarah.
According to when we put up their initial things at the beginning of Main Street and at the end of Main Street, or at the fire station, talking to the Wyndham Sheriff's Department, it keeps honest people honest. It's not going to stop the teenager from going 75 miles an hour. They're not tire strips. There's nothing magic. And there has been, I hear it, I know it seems odd where I am on Pleasant Street. I hear there's tons of speeding on Main Street. It's this time of year. It's always this time of year. And a couple of our neighbors are not helpful in that regard.
Carl?
2 comments. First, I think that the number of mobile signs that the town has purchased, and the number of locations that they want to monitor, if we really want some serious deterrence in the village, I don't think that sharing the signs with the other communities in the town is the best idea. We're not going to see it very often. How many times have we had those mobile signs in the village? Once?
They've never been in the village, to my knowledge.
I think
I never see them anywhere.
And the second comment I would make is, I happened to be just talking idly with some people outside the market yesterday morning, and someone who is a new resident in town said, "Boy, you sure drive fast in this village." So it's a I guess perception that not just a few people have.
Yeah.
That was one of the things he'd noticed in his new home.
Huh. Gordon?
I believe that we should have a stop sign just at the post office intersection coming for vehicles coming from the west. Because to me, that is the place where I see, I mean, today, for example, I saw one of those huge long semis just go blasting through there, you know. And I think it's a place where if there's going to be a really serious accident, it could happen right there. And the only way that I see it stopping is to have a stop sign for vehicles coming from the west. I don't know how you do it from on the other side, but that's what I think. Because I just think, you know, that you know, people are driving fast from, you know, they're driving fast from that way. I don't know what other people think. It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I'm seeing during this discussion is that we do have signs on Main Street and they're ineffective. So even though, you know, we hope for those to be a deterrent, they're apparently not working. And I know when I'm biking, and granted, I think people don't see bikes or motorcycles, but I see people blowing through stop signs all the time. You know, they kind of look around and just keep going. So I think, Carl, you've pointed that out too at your end of the village.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. We sound kind of lawless, don't we, with the fast speeding and nothing possible. Does anybody want to make a motion? I mean, go ahead, Rick.
Well, you know, Sarah was spot on when she said they're going to keep honest people honest. I mean, I know that the sign coming in from the east makes a difference for me because I always see it and it reminds me to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, if we can but just sometimes just keeping the honest people honest is the best you can do, and it's better than the other side. You know, I mean, I lock my car door so that if somebody tries to open my door, it doesn't open.
Mhm.
So if it saves, you know, if it saves one, if it slows anybody down, I think it's worth consideration. And I think, you know, I don't know where the town has been putting those mobile signs since they bought them. I saw them that one time on Atkinson Street, but I've never seen one anywhere
Yeah.
since.
I don't always read the minutes for the select board, but I know Bartonsville made the front page of the Shopper. They're very concerned about what they feel is commuter speeding, people going through in the morning and at night. I'm sorry, Rob, I'm ignoring you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just put my hand up. Why doesn't the village, why don't we just purchase 2 more signs like we have coming and going from the village on Main Street? Put one on Westminster Street and one on Pleasant Street. And you got the village coming and going all directions.
Village did not purchase those. Those were purchased with fundraising.
Well, we have a new
I
proposal here.
Oh,
I understand that, but I'm saying
The one
that
on Westminster
doesn't-
Street.
one on Westminster Street coming in and one on Pleasant Street. You know, keep the
I'm
honest
all for
people
Pleasant Street.
So are you Pleasant or Pleasant Valley? Pleasant Street is what you're thinking, Rob?
Pleasant Street, Pleasant Valley, wherever.
Pleasant Valley would be great. But now just bear with me because I know that like what Sarah said, she was right with keeps honest people honest. And humor me for a moment. I'm just thinking out loud. Is there anything like in the road? I almost think that, you know, here on Pleasant Valley Road, I watch people zoom in all directions. Like they're gaining air coming up from Main Street. They're gaining air coming down from Quarry Hill or Pleasant Valley Road. And sometimes I just think, I mean, obviously you can't have a speed bump, but like some kind of sign in the road saying to slow the freak down.
Rick, go ahead.
Could
Hey.
we word it exactly that way?
Hold on, Sarah. Go ahead, Rick.
So, so I'm new to all of this, but I know there's obviously various solutions. There's like, there's the signs, there's, putting the word slow. I've seen that in different places. Is there any way that we could reach out to other places in Vermont to find out what has been successful so that we're not like just trying things? I mean, is there like a resource board of different villages where we could put out and say, hey, has anyone solved this problem or reduced? So
That's a good suggestion.
I believe this is I wish Matt were here, because I believe this was all done when we initially fundraised for the other signs, for the ones on Main Street.
You think that we went and got
Yes,
best recommendations?
I know they spoke with Chester, who's had great success with it.
Yeah, Chester also has an eagle-eyed police force. I
Yeah,
know. I am
it's
extremely careful driving.
a
through
little like
Chester.
Alabama.
Yeah. Rob, are you gesturing?
Yeah, I question what about having more sheriff's time?
Yeah, we could do that.
What about some sheriff's time?
Wow, I don't know where are we at with the sheriff's department and their contract.
Ellen, you got the last report.
Yeah, and then I apologize. I thought I forwarded that on.
We can go back to taking a look at it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but we always get the report on how many hours and what happened with them. Typically, there are a couple of arrests. We've also had them lay down cables on Hartley Hill Road to time when speeding was occurring and how fast people were going. So that's equipment they have that they can use, that we can use for free if we want to document the problem more. But it seems like we know there's a problem. And I suspect that no one is eager to go to the speed bump solution. Notoriously, the people who operate the snowplows really hate that as a solution.
Well,
Well, it's not an option for 121 Main Street. It's a state highway.
Mhm.
judging from how people drive on Pleasant Valley Road with all those bumps, I don't think it'd make much difference. People just go sailing over the bumps and land on the other side of the next one.
They pay the
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I worry so much when I see people walking up to the rec area, and I mean, there's kids all the time on the sidewalks, and I'm sitting on my porch watching all this traffic go by, and it's like.
So, Ellen, we have sidewalks on both sides of the street on Pleasant Street. And last night when I was coming in, very tired, it's about 6:30. There were seriously about 12 people in the middle of the road, walking dogs and kids on bikes.
Oh, really?
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I don't know what to do, because I mean, I could throw stuff at people as they drive by, but
Yeah,
I'm sure I'd get in trouble for that.
Folks, I don't want to cut anyone off, but we are setting the sewer rate tonight, are we not? So I also don't want to take too much time on this. What's your pleasure? We had the suggestion of a motion to raise money or to use town money, village money, excuse me, to pay for 2 more signs. That was the only thing I heard that sounded like an action item, except finding out what other places do. Rick?
I think we should just ask the town for more use of the signs, and I guess I've been one of the contacts for the sheriff, and so ask them, I haven't seen the reports for a while, how much time they were spending, but we were not getting much time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
trying to get more time from them, because I think To me, I think that the portable signs are more effective because when you see them randomly from time to time, it's a little bit more like, ooh, what's going on? Why is there a sign there that's not usually there? And having the sheriff around a little bit more so that people would like think about that, you know. I bet the sheriff gave out a few tickets. There's a few people that would slow down. So I'd like to just go with those two things for now before we start talking about, you know, spending more money, because the town had promised us that they were going to buy those and that we were going to get use of them. So I'd like to see a better schedule of when and how often and where they're going to be in our neck of the woods. I noticed Cambridgeport got one. I don't know where they got who installed theirs.
I know. I asked Scott Pickup about that, and he didn't know.
Huh.
So beats me. Okay, so that's two things to happen. Ellen, will you take care of scanning the sheriff's report when you get the bill and sending it out to the trustees, just for a couple of rounds? So we've got that, and I will follow up with Scott Pickup and make sure that we're on the list for see where we're going to be on the list for the mobile signs. Any other suggestions?
Amy,
Carl?
can we ask for a certain amount of time for those signs, like so many days a month that they be
No.
in the village? No?
No, if you read the article about Bartonsville, it's very educational. It's from the front page of last week's Shopper.
Yeah, I think I also was educated by that article, and it strikes me that the town of Rockingham is trying to be sensitive to areas that are experiencing distress. And we, unlike most of Rockingham, have sheriff services available here. Bartonsville does not, for example. So
No, they asked for 60 hours of police, and of course that's not going to happen. Bartonsville. So I think 60 was the number.
all right, if there are no other active suggestions for discussion, I'd like to move on. Okay, Declaration of Inclusion, final appearance. As I think I emailed the board, but of course not the people who are attending the meeting, the town of Rockingham is completing documentation related to the federal and state funded work on the train station. And Betsy Thurston wrote to the chairs of the three boards, Bellows Falls, Rockingham, and Saxtons River, asking if a declaration of inclusion had been passed by the three boards. And as you know, it was not. But I wrote back to say that Saxtons River was considering it for the final time tonight. And she is eager to include it in the report if it's passed. Let me grab that up just so people can take a look at it. This is the revision. This is what's been posted recently. The suggestion that we would review it once more, August 1st. This includes the revised wording, which puts racism at the end of the first paragraph. The only thing that is not filled in is the specified date. So I'll just read it quickly. The Village of Saxtons River welcomes all persons, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, gender identity or expression, age or disability, and wants everyone to feel safe and welcome in our community. We reject racism. As a village, we formally reject all discrimination in all of its forms, commit to fair and equal treatment of everyone in our community, and will strive to ensure all of our actions, policies. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be sharing this, aren't I? I apologize, hold on. Share screen. I'm looking at it, but obviously you're not. Here we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
We'll strive to ensure all of our actions, policies, and operating procedures reflect this commitment. The village of Saxons River has and will continue to be a place where individuals can live freely and express their opinions by the Saxons River Village Trustees on a specified date, 2022. So we have been considering this since the annual meeting in April. If you recall, we had members of the public, notable in my mind, Dave Moore and Susan Rugg, welcome the idea of this passage. It's been posted. We have had some comments, I think maybe as many as 4 comments saying this is a good idea. Please make sure you use the language, the village of Saxons River. The original had something about the town. This parallels language passed by the state and by other towns, including, interesting to me, the town of Athens, which, is pretty small. So what is your pleasure? I would like to pass this, but obviously I'm only one person on this board. I'm going to stop sharing if everybody got a chance to see it. You okay with going back to the?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the letter of inclusion.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the Declaration of Inclusion. Now we can begin with any discussion.
I think that we got some really good feedback at the annual meeting. The John Dunbar and his wife, spoke to me about how strongly they felt about this and how important it was. And I think that if it's going to help with grants and fundraising for various things, that we should go ahead and do it. I don't see any harm in doing it.
Okay. Other comments? Carl.
Have we gotten any further feedback in the last,
Month?
Month?
No, none. No, it's 2 months actually. I posted it 2 months ago. No, the feedback came at the annual meeting, and I would say in the 2 months after it. And it was positive feedback.
So all the feedback has been positive, but it's a relatively small number of individuals.
That's correct.
How many registered voters do we have in the village?
We had about 30 people at the village meeting. I don't know how many voters we have, but I would say as a voter, I would have assumed that this had passed. I would have been sort of like, why didn't it? And because we voted on it then, and why isn't it in place? So to speak?
Just to be clear, we did not vote on it. This came up, Sarah, at the other non-binding business, but
I'm saying that was would have been my perception.
Okay, good. All right, are we ready for a vote?
Yep.
Okay, so all in favor. So let me restate the motion. So it's been moved and seconded to pass the Declaration of Inclusion. All those in favor signify with a hand. So that is 1, 2, 3 in favor, and those opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so we have 3 in favor and 1 abstention. So the motion passes. Great, thank you. So I will send that, the wording to Betsy Thurston. We are ready for the village sewer rate, Carl. I think this is your baby.
Oh, gee, thanks. If you would let me share.
Yep, let's make you the co-host.
Rick, just a quick question. What's your address? Yes.
My physical address or my mailing address?
No, so not you, Rick, the other Rick.
Rick McEachern.
My mailing or my physical?
Both.
My 6 Academy.
Okay. Because, and then you're mailing. I'm the treasurer, debt collector, and whatever. And so I keep the mailing list.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm 6 Academy. I guess I technically would be Unit 2. And my PO box is 163.
Okay, great.
Sarah, I am, this has nothing to do with the question you just asked, but I'm changing the label of your name to Sarah Campbell. For some reason, it was coming on as Louise
Oh.
Loring.
That's because I had to sign in as Louise for a meeting.
Okay, well, you're now Sarah Campbell.
Perfect.
Rick, Sarah is the treasurer, as she has told you. Carl Ball is the clerk. And I'm the chair, and the rest of us are, we're all just trustees. Okay, go ahead, Carl.
Okay,
Rob runs the sewer plant and is a neighbor.
I'm having a little bit of, hang on just a second here. Okay, you're not seeing my,
No, I'm seeing a screen that shows
Okay. Are you seeing?
budget, residential units, non-residential units, total units, unit fee.
Okay, so this is just a summary. I went through the list with Sarah's help. I identified the number of residential units, commercial or non-residential units, total number of user equivalents, and if anybody wants, I can go through what a user equivalent is. Divided our budget by that and came up with a fee of $751, which is a $19 increase over last year. You can see that comparison. The budget for the plant has gone up a little bit. The major contribution there is salaries and the plant maintenance budget. We have 2 new residential units, which I want to talk about a little bit more. And in the non-residential, our commercial users have dropped. And most of that is due to a lower enrollment than last year projected for Vermont Academy, and a slight decrease in the enrollment for the elementary school. So that drops the number of the number of users and sort of increases the fee for everybody else. Now about those 2 new residential units. One is at 3 Westminster Street, which apparently we've never billed. At least I can't find it in the billing records that I got from Ben. Doesn't appear in any of those lists. And Sarah was at the listers today. Is that right?
That's correct. I've had 2 different meetings with the listers, but yes, I was with the listers today and spoke with Rob.
And so that the features that would make it be considered a residence, like kitchen and plumbing, were added about in 2018, I think you said, Sarah. And so, and it is connected to the sewer system, so it should be getting a bill. But it may be a shock if they haven't gotten the bill before. And 17 Academy Avenue is the Campbell House, part of VA, and Sarah says that should really be counted as 2 residential units because there's both dormitory for students and house parents.
And an apartment for house parents, a separate.
A separate apartment. So
Yes.
that we were unaware of. That definitely, I think, is something that should be added. So my proposal, I guess, would be that we add those 2 properties to the sewer roll, or those changes, 3 Westminster Street and a change in the occupancy for the Campbell House, and that we set the sewer fee at $751. And that's enough to cover our costs, to cover our budget. Last year, we raised the fee a little bit more than I had thought we ought to. To make sure that we did fully cover the budget. The year before, we didn't charge a large enough fee to cover the entire budget, and we took a little bit out of the sewer plant reserve. But last year, we decided we should no longer do that. We should get up to fully funding through the user fees. So I'm proposing that we do that again this year. Now, if you want to see the spreadsheet with all the data, I'm welcome to show it to you. I'm rather happy to show it.
Carl, can I talk about users for just a second?
Yeah.
So we also have some ideas that there are other units in the village that have second units and should maybe pay an additional fee. However, I don't have proof positive, and I've reached out to the property owners. And hopefully, they'll respond to me at some point. And then to let me know whether there is an additional unit in their home or not. And then the 3 Westminster, in terms of parity, we have 3 Westminster, 7 Maple. I can't remember what number Tristan Brennan's property is on Westminster, who all pay sewer fees, which are non-habitable buildings.
Yeah.
So I think parity is a huge issue here.
Yeah. Carl, would you be willing to take this down for a minute to stop sharing?
Sure.
It just makes it easier for me to see who's raising their hand. Thank you. Okay. Do people need to see more data? Carl just offered that.
I will tell you, you don't want to look at that spreadsheet.
Okay.
But-
Sarah, you're comfortable with the figures that you've seen? You and Carl are our point people on this. You feel that they are an accurate representation as far as we've gotten?
As far as we've gotten, I have also reached out to, I know that they are building new units at 18 Main Street, the tin shop, where Julie Masurvi's office was, right next to where Cushman's was, or the bar, the pub.
We
Whichever
call
to the
that the
brightest pub.
Saxon building?
Okay, you can call it. It's called the tin shop.
Depends on when you moved in, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, they are building some new units on that 3rd floor. And I did speak with Harold Buckner about that. When those went into effect, we would charge a fee for those, prorated.
Yeah, I have not gotten, Ben traditionally got a listing from Harold. I have not seen one this year.
When I looked at the numbers, Carl, and I literally drove or crept around the village when I was working on this, because it also brought up some other properties like Six Grove. Is it 1 unit or 2 units? And I've reached out to homeowners there as well. And so I think basing it on last year's is a really solid for Harold Buckner's properties. Honestly, I think the tin shop building, the 1819 Main Street is the only one that, because they are adding units.
Mhm. The only other change that I know of in his property is that the Kendall's Kitchen building is now being used as office space for the interstate overpass construction people, but their usage is less than the minimum fee, so it makes no difference in what we charge.
So I know we had a lengthy discussion last year, which Carl referred to, about covering our costs. Are people still on that page?
Yes, we should cover our costs.
I think we should, once we've made that step, I don't think we should go backwards.
Okay. Rick, you're in tune with that as well?
How can we not cover our costs?
Well, by taking money out of the reserve. And I did speak to at least one person who was appalled last year when the fee went up. So I know she is not going to be happy when it jumps again.
Yeah.
I don't know the village so intimately that I have an idea of how it affects everyone, but I am aware that, you know, a $19 jump is a big jump for some people.
Well,
All right, are we ready for a motion?
all right, I'll move that we set the sewer fee for 2022-23 at $751 per user unit, which is a 2.6% increase over last year's fee.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made to set the sewer fee at $751 per user unit, a 2.6 increase over last year. That motion has been seconded. Are we ready for a vote, or is there further discussion? Looks like we're ready for a vote. Okay, all in favor of passing the sewer fee at $751 per user unit, signify with a show of hands. It's unanimous. Okay, we are done with the sewer fee. Go ahead, Carl.
One comment, I guess Sarah's left us already, but I'll keep following up with Sarah and Will and see what is happening with these possible multiple household buildings that we have as single family units.
Do you feel if we added as many as 3 to 5 units, it would have a change, a measurable change on your facts and figures?
Well, we added 2 units based on the data that Sarah sent today, and those 2 units lowered the fee by $2.
By $2?
So roughly every household that we add would drop it by a buck.
Okay.
About.
All right, Sarah is back. Sarah, were you there to see that we have set the fee?
No,
We set the fee at $751 based on the figures that Carl showed us.
And
bills
then-
will be in the mail tomorrow. No, only kidding.
and
No,
I said
by the
then-
15th.
I said then that you and I would get together, we would keep following up on those properties
Yes.
you've looked at. And I had talked to or emailed Ben Wallace about what the past practice has been if we discover that a single unit should actually have been built as 2 and hasn't for a while. He had suggested that if we're going to make a change in usage, that we should reach out to the property owners and let them know that it's coming in the next billing cycle. But I don't think that applies to the 2 cases we're adding here. So if, for example, somebody's been having a mother-in-law apartment for the last 20 years and they're all of a sudden going to get their sewer bill doubled, that's not a good thing. And we should give them some warning time. But that's what Sarah's talking about, reaching out to the property owners, and we'll follow up then when we see how many are affected.
Okay, well, we have the fee set. It sounds like we're ready to go. Unless you want, I thought you were ready for the vote.
No, we did, that's fine. I'm just,
Okay,
because we haven't added any properties yet, so I mean, this is if Sarah uncovers more.
okay.
The other thing that we need to do is to set the due date.
Oh, okay.
Which typically has been August 15th, but that's kind of short notice because Carl fell asleep at the switch and didn't have this ready in June.
September 15th.
September 15th, reasonable, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I've already told some banks that that's when it is.
Are there any objections? Okay, September 15th it is.
That's when it was last year, wasn't it, Sarah?
Yes, yeah,
Which,
yeah. So we have some properties that are going into foreclosure. So the banks will be that want to know, they needed to know approximate amount, and I'll have to email them tomorrow about final amounts for sewer.
Okay. Are we ready to move on? All right, the next item on the agenda is the Coda and Coda fuel contract. This contract Ellen provided for us last year. I emailed it to you if you're more comfortable looking at it on your own screen. I'm sorry, I did not scan it and email it until tonight. Hold on, I've got a little bit of an issue here. Just a minute.
I did try to see what but it was after 5 o'clock. So Coda and Coda was closed to see what they're selling number 2 oil for today. But just a really, really quick internet search was about, and doesn't mean that this is what Coda and Coda or our local distributors are, but about $5.36 a gallon.
Okay, if you're all right with this, I will share the contract with you. So the big question, just to get us off on the right foot, the big question is whether we go for a contract with a capped amount, which has not been our practice in the past, but we've got kind of a different situation going on this year, I think. So here is a rather loopy, can you see that? So are you able to see the document I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay. And it's in your email, as I said. So this is the fire department contract. Typically, we spend a lot of money on fire department oil. So Coda and Coda has finally come out with a capped price or capped budget option, so that you are protected if the price goes up. If we do this, we would need to send in a check with the dated and signed agreement and a check. We could also, I don't see, looking through this, a required date. So if you would like more time to study it, we could do that as well. What is your pleasure?
what did you say the current price was,
Sarah?
Sarah, for fuel oil?
Sorry, let me unmute. 5.36, but that was just sort of a general, I think I ended up getting the price somewhere in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, I went through and did some calculations when we did the budget.
I remember, yeah.
At $5.25 a gallon, our usage would cost $8,925 based on our past usage. And we budgeted $9,700 for it.
So a small
So
increase.
we're riding close to what we budgeted at that price. So we use on average 1,700 gallons of fuel for that fuel oil for that building in the course of the year. So now if I can go back to the contract.
I don't think we can win.
So that's,
Well, if fuel goes up a lot more, we can win, but
I think we're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
I think even for myself, there is literally no good answer this year.
I was just trying to look up some forecasting reports and there wasn't anything concrete to work with.
Yeah. James and James isn't even sending out contracts this year because they're not willing to take that hit if there is one.
And when does the contract have to, if we go with the contract, when does it have to be submitted by? I don't remember.
I don't see a date anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, they mailed it to us last month. Contract valid July 1st, 2022 to May 31st. And I guess this is August 1st, so they probably mailed it out July 1st.
Mm.
Our next meeting is September 12th. We can always have a special meeting. Those are our options in terms of
And so, what have we done in the past?
no protection.
No
well,
protection.
paid whatever it cost. We've never,
Flex option.
Is anybody leaning one way or another?
I feel like gambling because I think the price can only go down from here for the winter, but if we take one of the options, we're going to be paying another 50 cents per gallon on whatever, we're paying 50 cents a gallon for protection. So
So you're
Right,
leaning slightly to just keep on the way we've always done it.
and hope that the market bears with us. Yes.
And that the weather works in our favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done.
And that the
any
firehouse
contract.
doesn't collapse.
Yeah, yeah.
We personally haven't done any contracts in a long time.
We did at Chroma, but our bill and volumes are quite a bit different.
Yeah.
I'm inclined not to go with the contract and to take our chances. I mean, that's what we personally have always done.
Let's have a motion, just to keep us legal and above board.
I make a motion that we forego any contract on fuel oil for the winter of 22-23.
I'll second.
So when you say we forego any contract, you are choosing the flex option? Pay as you go?
Yeah,
That's not the flex option's not.
that's
paid.
it would be not sending this back in at all. The flex option still has it's just a budget option.
Well, there's a budget option, but there's also flex option, payments due net 30, no price protection fee, current balance 00. But, whatever you say, no contract is fine with me. That's very clear. Is there a second to that motion?
I seconded.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to forego any kind of price protection plan with CODA and CODA, and instead to go with no contract, as has been our practice in the past. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Not seeing a hand. All in favor, show by a hand. Okay, and it's unanimous. Thank you. We are up to item 8, the Route 121 bridge update from the Westminster Select Board meeting. So it seemed to me there were a lot of last minute cancellations. Was anybody able to go to that meeting?
Yes, I was there. And Peter Golick was there.
Oh, great.
I can tell you a little bit about it. It's a hot mess.
That's not good.
So somebody from the state was there, who is not, however, the person who coordinates planning or construction or anything like that. But to talk about what the options are, there's going to be much more construction than they had originally thought because the steel is in worse shape. It is going to require further design work. It's going to require more permitting because they're going to have to be working in the stream. And so specs for the project will not really be out until September.
So we're still anticipating 12 to 16 months with our main access?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Patience. Let's see. There was some discussion about building a temporary bridge, which everybody in the decision-making capacity, the state and the select board, didn't seem to be in favor of. It would be expensive, require a lot more permitting, and there was a chance they would run into archaeologically sensitive areas, which would put the whole project down, shut the whole project down for years. So they don't want to do that. In terms of the time frame, the state representative thought that it would be possible to do the construction in one construction season between April and October and do the demolition of the old bridge in the spring before construction begins, so that the timing would not be 16 months. The contractor who currently is engaged to work on this was a little bit skeptical about whether or not he could meet that deadline, that kind of a timeline. And so while it may be possible to do that, that quite possibly involves a different contractor with larger crew and 7-day-a-week overtime work to get it done that fast, which drives the cost up. So until the specs come in and contractor looks at it, don't know what the time frame is going to be. I think that while it's probably theoretically possible to do it in one season, I don't think it's going to shake out that way. Based on the talk, the plan is probably going to end up to demolish the old bridge in the fall, have nothing sitting there over the winter, and begin construction on the new bridge in the spring. But that's just my sense of where it's going. And again, we won't know until they come back in September. Peter Golick raised the point that this is now not a repair, but a reconstruction, and isn't the state going to require that it go out for bids again? And I don't know whether it's true that it needs to, but the Westminster Select Board was not anxious to do that and not anxious to take the job away from the contractor who's already put some work into it and is familiar with the project and the needs. The cost to design and build a temporary bridge The state person estimated at 600,000 plus. So not, which would be added to the cost of the project. So when that number came out, people seemed to lose interest in the temporary bridge idea. Now, there was a general feeling from the members of the select board that it's not a big deal to drive around Back Westminster Road. Those of us who lived in Rockingham questioned that. And there's a lot of issues with the traffic, whether or not that road can handle that volume of traffic, whether or not it can safely handle the truck traffic. I don't know. So there was not a lot resolved, a lot of questions still out there, and stay tuned for September.
Are you planning to continue following this issue, Carl?
Yeah, I'll go to the meeting in September, and I'll drop a line to Jason Perry and ask him to keep me in the loop about what they're thinking when it's coming up for discussion at the select board.
Jason Perry is the head of the select board in Westminster.
Chair of the select board in Westminster.
Yeah. So, okay. I do have contact information for Allison Bigwood, the interim town manager for Westminster. She called a day before the meeting to apologize for not being in closer touch, but I assured her we had the information, and at that point I told her I thought 3 trustees would be attending. So I do think it's our issue, just the fact that so many people from Saxtons River drive into Rockingham on 121, and there's no way to do that with that bridge gone. I don't think there's a way to do that. Did somebody say something about Covered Bridge Road? I don't know what that is.
Covered Bridge Road takes you from the other side of the river, the Bells Falls side, and it drops you on the Bells Falls side of the river. It does not cross the Saxtons River. And I've driven down it to terrify my daughter about what back roads in Vermont are like.
So it is not access that would replace this bridge? Okay.
No,
No,
it's only
Okay.
Rockingham Hill or Pleasant Valley Road. And in the winter time, Rockingham Hill Road's awful.
Pleasant Valley Road's no treat either.
Well, milling and paving, so that may be better. Yeah.
I think the village of Bellows Falls really needs to consider what this is going to do to business and BF, because if I have to go over Rockingham Hill, Pleasant Valley, or Westminster West Road,
Yeah.
I'm just going to Brad or Putney. I mean, it's fortunately the village market will be seeing an increase, and it should be a boon for them, because anything that we might have gone into town for, we're just going to either go there or just go elsewhere. It's not. I think this is probably going to me, in my opinion, this could have as big of an impact on the storekeepers in the village as the Vilas Bridge closing did.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm thinking I may open a hardware store.
That would be great. We could use
That
a
would be
hardware
great.
store. Do it. All right. Anything else? It sounds like we will have a continued stream of information coming from Carl. If more members want to go, I'm happy to do another agenda, call it a special meeting, and have you have the ability to speak as a group and discuss while you're at the meeting. But it seemed to me that was, I mean, I wondered if we could pull that off, but it's certainly an option if you want it. Okay, moving on to committee reports and updates. And I think we're making excellent headway here. So the Saxtons River Park, I was tasked with exploring clearing the area beyond the fence. I initially met with Scott Pickup to talk about what he's used. That turned out to be a dead end. He used somebody who is no longer interested in volunteering his services. So today I spoke with Andrew Dunbar, who is our lawnmower and weed whacker for the village park. He also does the circle, the Rotary Circle, and the Historical Society. And he said that he thought it would take a small chainsaw, be a lot of work, and he would like to talk to his father about doing the job and then come back. I assured him that we would entertain a reasonable quote. So I think we can stay tuned for that.
We may want to be pretty cautious about liability, because if he's under 18 and
Yep. And that's
Good point.
dangerous, that's dangerous work. I would not be in favor of giving that job to a minor.
Probably
we
one
have-
of you knows. Is he under 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Have we talked to Julie Maservi to make sure that that's okay to do that, that doesn't fall into the, what's it called when you take away the chemicals?
brownfield.
Yeah.
I don't know. What we're talking about is cutting the top of what is down there. We're not talking about digging into anything. We're just talking about clearing the area beyond the fence.
Okay. Clearing to me says taking out by the root. So we're not doing that.
No,
Okay.
no, the idea was they do have weed whackers that are equipped with blades.
Yeah.
So the word that I've been hearing is brush hogging. You know, maybe you guys know what that is more than
So
I do.
why are we doing this,
Brush
Amy?
hogging is the lawnmower that you haul behind a tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no access for a mechanical vehicle back there.
But Amy, why are we doing this?
This is the recommendation of the park committee in order to keep the rough stuff that is on that side of the fence from infiltrating the park.
Okay. I think someone should reach out to Julie. I'm willing to do that. But
I
I
can
think
put
it
it
would-
on the park committee.
I was going to say, but I think someone from the park committee should do it
Sure.
because it was all very, I mean, we got federal money because of the way it was
Yep.
done.
Yep.
And we don't want to pay any of that back.
No. Yeah. Okay. So I will contact the head of the park committee and ask if she has checked with Julie Moore Maservi about the brownfield.
And archaeological, whatever.
The place where they are thinking of cutting the swath is away from the archaeological interest. And I don't believe that there is a brownfield problem with just mowing, but I'm not certain about that. I think it's good to follow through. Or with cutting down the dead trees for that matter. And I think that's possible. Julie may not know. We may have to get in touch with our environmental consultant about that.
Yeah, I have plenty of information here about the consultants we use to plan that work. And Sarah is smiling because she and I have been looking at that stuff for a while we documented the BGS grants. Okay, that's the park committee. Sheriff contract. So it's been signed and sent in. Those are the terms that were provided to us a year ago. We passed the budget at annual meeting and now it's been sent in. I thought you might be interested in knowing that there is some discussion in Rockingham about a larger sheriff contract. And, you know, we pay a higher rate because of the number of hours that we contract for. If we contracted for more hours, we would pay a lower rate, of course, more money. And I asked Scott whether there was a possibility of, you know, a larger contract involving all of Rockingham. And he said, actually, he would be interested to see if there could be a joint municipal contract that included Westminster as well. because they also use the Wyndham Sheriff. So I'll let you know if I hear anything more, but that's where we are at the moment. Any comments, anything for me to take back to Scott if there's another discussion of this issue? This might be something that comes up at the tri-board meeting, it seems to me. Carl.
So I'm a little bit skeptical. We're already wondering about whether or not we're getting the hours coverage that we're paying for. If we're in a joint contract with several other municipalities, I can't believe that our time will be diluted to cover time in, for example, Bartonsville.
Okay.
And I'm also skeptical about why we would want to do something joint with Westminster, which is not really contiguous with any of the areas of Rockingham that would be looking for service. And Bellas Falls has got the police department.
So you like the idea of an individual Saxons River contract, keeping that and not going in with anyone else?
Well, I would want to be very careful about what we were considering before we did that.
Okay.
And I would not want to have something negotiated by other parties and presented to us. I mean, I think this is something that we should be aware of what's being considered.
Okay. Just point of information at this point, but message received. Planning grant for 37 Main Street, no action on that in the past month. And the fire station, Scott Pickup has asked Betsy Thurston to follow up with the fire department feasibility study. He doesn't understand why we haven't heard something by this point in time. So he's investigating. He's very eager to get going on that feasibility study. He's looking forward to the data that comes in. You haven't heard anything, have you, Ellen?
No, and I didn't realize that Betsy was taking it over from Gary.
I think Betsy is, I noticed that when I get an email from her, it's from assistant. I think she's getting a lot of assignments. Betsy, will you follow up on this? Betsy, will you research this? Will you write up? So I don't think that the responsibility has changed. It's just that she's the person who's carrying out some of these inquiries. That's it. Wastewater treatment plant. Anything from the group at large? No. So a little update, primarily, I think for Carl, Ben Wallace, who used to be the point person on this village trustee board on all things sewer and wastewater treatment plant, has a large plastic box of documents that he would like to pass back to the board. He thought he could meet with someone, and I'm thinking it might be you, Carl, to go through the files. I'm quoting, "Within an hour or less, we could get through the files with me adding context to help you determine what can be discarded. Some of the sewer documents may need input from Rob Wheeler, and those can be set aside. Let me know what works for you." So how do you feel about taking that on, Carl?
Well, I suppose if it's going to be done, it's my job. Yeah. So I'll contact Ben about getting together.
Okay. And I will forward his message to you.
Okay.
We're up to the minutes for approval from July 11th. Is there a motion to consider the minutes for approval? Carl?
I move that we approve the minutes of July 11th.
Okay, is there a second for that motion?
I second it.
It's been moved and approved to consider it's been moved to approve the minutes of July 11th. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Are we ready for a vote? All those in favor of approving the minutes from July 11th? Carl, is that a vote or a question?
That's a vote.
Oh, okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify with a hand. It's unanimous. Great. Good job, Carl. Warrants and bills for approval. I have your warrant, or I can make you the co-host, Ellen. What would you like? Do you want to be the co-host?
Nah,
I can show you. Okay. Now I'm put on the spot. Let's see if I can do it.
If you can, I will.
Oops, that's not it. There it is. Can you see it now? The warrant for 8/12, 8/1/22.
Yeah.
So Ellen, this represents all of the bills that have come in since our July meeting.
Yep.
Wow, it's not that many.
No, I know. I was kind of surprised too, because I have been checking. I also stopped again today at the fire department. There was nothing at the fire department.
Okay, great. So it looks like $2,026.01. Is there a motion to approve the warrant as presented? I move to approve the warrant for August 1st, 2022 in the amount of $2,026.01. Is there a second for that motion?
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the warrant for August 1st, 2022 in the amount of $2,026.01. All those in favor signify by holding up a hand.
Before we vote, I have a question.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I'm rushing you. Go ahead.
I have a question about that return check fee.
I have a question about that return check fee as well. Because I wrote to Ellen basically when she said she was putting it on. I seriously do not understand, because I think we have about $100,000 in that account. So what I think happened is I think I actually put the wrong account number. I did it by phone. So
I see.
I think yeah, there's literally no way that we bounced a check.
Well, except if it came out of an account that didn't have enough.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have come. That's what I can't, because I pay them the same way every month. So since I got the email while I was on a Zoom call, so I could answer. I haven't literally gone on to anything to look.
Okay.
So Carl, we may not be spending that $13.
Great. If we have to, we have to. I would suggest approving it nevertheless. And then if we don't need to, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, unless it was the bank's error, we're going to end up paying that.
You know what?
Truthfully,
even if it was the bank's error, we're going to end up paying it.
I am just curious as to how we bounced the check. That's all.
Yes, so am I, especially when you see that it came back as that we're only $1484.05 for 8/7. So where did that return check for Green Mountain Power come from? I have to investigate, Carl. I will let you know at our next meeting.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? I'm sorry, Carl, I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just, no, I guess I really don't have anything more to add. Go ahead.
All right, are we ready for the vote? All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the warrant for August 1st, 2022 in the amount of $2,026.01. All those in favor signify by holding up a hand. And it's unanimous. Great. Okay. Other business. What do we have for other business tonight? All right, I have some, of course. So October 6th and 7th, there is League of Cities and Towns training being offered at the Grand Hotel in Killington. That's always during the week, so people who have regular jobs, it's extremely awkward to attend. Basically, the training is meant to improve the skills of the trustees and select board members. If there are new services that League of Cities and Towns offers, if there are municipal issues that they feel are important, there are always lots of opportunities to meet people face to face. I'm not committing at this point. I'm waiting to see what October has in store. But if anyone is interested, I can certainly put you on the mailing list, pass along things like the postcards that come in the mail to us. Anybody, any interest? Hearing none, moving on. Items for the next meeting and date. So we meet on September 12th. We will not meet on the first Monday in September, since that's Labor Day. So, and that is our sole meeting. Again, this is the last of our summer meetings. Do people have things they want to address?
Don't know of anything now.
Okay, I'll send around something.
Just
at
a
the
couple of
beginning
things
of
we talked about checking with the town about the speed signs and,
Yep. So follow up from the meeting today.
Are there any more scheduled events for meeting new residents? That
I had
So-
talked about doing an open house at the sewer plant, and I haven't done anything about it. So I think if we do it, it might have to be September, a Sunday afternoon at the sewer plant.
it should be in cooler weather to tour the sewer plant. So.
You think?
Yes.
What
don't
could
know,
be
I-
nicer?
I was there. I mean, it's really nice in there. I was there in July a year ago when we had the floods, and I went down. I was just kind of tooling around to see what the impact was on the town, and the gates were open, and I went in, and it's amazing. It's nothing
Yeah.
like what I imagined.
Yeah.
So-
My first wife was a lab tech for a number of years and chief operator of the Brattleboro wastewater treatment plant for a number of
Huh.
years. So I've spent my fair time in the Brattleboro wastewater treatment plant.
But
Lucky.
It's not as bad as you would expect.
surely ours is nicer, Rick.
Yeah. Oh, it should be. It's much newer. That was 25 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like it seemed like one of those newcomer, oldcomer things, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it was you, Ellen, who said to me, "We spent so much time talking about the
I
wastewater
know.
treatment plant."
Well,
You'd
it is
think
our
it was-
biggest village expense.
yeah, and prior to me getting on the board, I was like, what is the interest in this freaking thing? Can we talk about anything else?
Yeah. So Rick is the newest person here at the meeting. Aren't you fascinated with the wastewater treatment plant?
Well, I don't know. I know it seems important. I actually have had a tour of one, believe it or not,
Oh, good. Great. Yeah.
in the past.
And we had an offer at one point from somebody at Vermont Academy, right when we were in the middle of that whole COVID experience, the beginning of that COVID experience, to help us analyze the data. So, you know, those early warning signs of COVID. We did not take them up on that, but it's always interesting what kinds of expertise are available in a small village.
Sure.
Okay, we are up to the executive sessions. So, Rick, we will be putting you in a waiting room if you want to come back. And you're done? Okay. It was great having you, and we look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye, guys.
Bye, Rick. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So we need the motions first before we go in to make sure that we're going in. And actually, the second item discussing property lines, I think requires Matt Brennan's presence. But let's deal with the first one first. So the item 14 is an executive session to discuss the contract for fire payment with Athens. It is my assumption that we do need this discussion, and I will move that this body makes the specific finding that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the village of Saxtons River at a substantial disadvantage. So I would move that we go into executive session to discuss this contract.
And the basis, what you also need to say,
So the first motion is because premature general public knowledge would place the municipality at a disadvantage while we're discussing a contract.
thank you.
Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second.
Okay. And now we vote on that motion. and then we make the motion. Rick, you're the expert on this, right? We're doing this the way you do it in the school board?
If I'm the expert on it, but yeah,
Okay.
there's a little statement that says, we're going into executive session for a topic that could cause premature issues. Has to be a personnel, legal, contractual.
Yep, contract, yeah. Okay, all in favor with a show of hands? Okay, unanimously, we are making the specific finding about premature general public knowledge. Now, I make the motion that we go into executive session to discuss the Athens contract for fire services.
Okay.
That's my motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session to discuss the contract over Athens Fire Services. All those in favor signify with a show of hands, and it's unanimous. Okay, I am going to stop the recording and put Fact TV into the waiting room. Okay,
Recording in
Fact TV is
progress.
back, and we are no longer in executive session. Is there any action to be taken?
No.
Okay. And that is it for tonight. We have no other executive sessions, and we are ready for a motion to adjourn. It looks like we will have a special meeting. Let's add that information for anybody who is watching. It looks like we will have a special meeting if everyone is available to meet a week from tonight at 7 p.m. by remote meeting only. Anything else? Okay,
Good night,
motion to
folks.
adjourn.
Motion made.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Good night.